Oh shit. This has been something that I've been trying to make for a very long time now, but I haven't because I'm really lazy. So just to start off, if you don't know what an iceberg chart is, it's just a chart that goes down multiple layers, and the more the information goes deeper, the more obscure it becomes. And it's just about Silent Hill, so I'm just gonna jump right into it. I don't have an intro planned out, so yeah.
Dog ending. Dog ending refers to a secret ending in Silent Hill 2 where after beating the game once,
And also its DLC, Born from a Wish, if you get the dog key near the beginning of the game from the doghouse and use it on the observation room on the 3rd floor of the Lakeview Hotel later on, it reveals that a dog is in a control room with a headset was behind everything in the town. It then changes the end credits to show the dog while playing a song with pitch-shifted dog barks. Kindergarten Cop. So in Silent Hill 1, the school is modeled after the school in Kindergarten Cop, starring Big Boy Arnold.
This is Mudge! What the fuck?
And even the posters on the wall in the schools has the posters from Kindergarten Cop in it. Why it's like that, I have no idea. UFO endings. UFO endings are a staple in Silent Hill. They're in basically every game, except for some of the shitty ones. And most of them are just the main characters either being abducted by aliens or just kind of hanging out with them.
And that's about it.
So my poor little Cheryl. I can't believe that. I'm going to Silent Hill, and I'm gonna bust some heads.
Oh, Dad, you're the coolest!
Jacob's Ladder. Jacob's Ladder is a psychological horror film from the year 1990, basically about a Vietnam War vet suffering from PTSD and other past traumas, and in the movie, those are manifested into creatures and demons, and also there is an other world in the film where he is basically tortured. It's basically hell. And based on that synopsis, it's very obvious that it definitely inspired Silent Hill, and it's definitely marked as a point of inspiration in the series. I'd say just watch it at this point. If you're a big fan of Silent Hill, you're probably gonna like it. Pop culture. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what this means, but it can either mean A, the influence that Silent Hill has had on media and culture in general, such as the movies and video games, or it could be all the references to other media in Silent Hill, such as the references to Stephen King and the street names and such. So, yeah, that's all I can really come up with for this one. Maria is real. So this is a theory that Maria, the character from Silent Hill 2, who is often believed to be a figment of James's personal desires and is just like a creation from the town, is actually a real person. I don't really believe it. There's also a variation on the theory that the Maria you play as from Born from a Wish is an actual person, while the one with James is a fake person. Again, I don't really believe it. Dead Man's Notes. These are 6 notes you can find around Neely Street in Silent Hill 2, and these notes basically just give you advice about how to deal with the monsters throughout the town. But it also gives you a story about how one man was seeing the monsters while the other was not, playing more into the themes about how the town just manifests monsters depending on the person, and not everyone can see them. Henry's Landlord. In Silent Hill 4, if you look out the peephole of Henry's door, you'll often see his landlord, Frank Sunderland, and based on the name you can tell that he's actually the dad of James Sunderland and actually mentions him sometimes. Scrubs Origins. Silent Hill Origins was originally going to be a dark comedy inspired by the show Scrubs, according to the lead designer Sam Barlow. He said, quote, "It was supposed to be a dark comedy, and at some point someone said Scrubs was the inspiration. We pushed back and said, look, if this goes out, it'll be disaster. There's a hardcore fan base of Silent Hill players. They ended up having to rework almost the entire game before the release date of November 2007. Sonic Youth Teachers. In Silent Hill 1 at the elementary school, a document can be found on the front desk that has the names of the teachers listed, and the teachers are named after members from the band Sonic Youth. Centralia, or Centralia, I've heard both, is an almost entirely abandoned town in Pennsylvania. It was once a small mining town that was subject to coal mine fires and was almost entirely abandoned due to toxic carbon monoxide levels and also the ground itself being unstable. What does it have to do with Silent Hill? Well, in the movie, the town is based off Centralia, such as the backstory with the coal mine fires and such. There's lots of famous landmarks that they didn't adapt, such as Graffiti Highway and Penis Trail, my personal favorite. Alchemy. So this entry refers to alchemy symbolism in the first Silent Hill game, which is particularly seen with the Order with their cycle of death and rebirth. Honestly, I'm not too educated on alchemy. I know it's a precursor to chemistry. I am not a scholar. I am making an Iceberg video. I recommend watching the Gaming Muse video on alchemy. They do a much better job if you want more detail on it, so I'll leave it in the description. Shattered Memories is a sequel. In October 2015, Reddit user Clemmy Clue and Baby Boo posted a theory saying how Silent Hill Shattered Memories, a reimagining remake of the first game, whatever it is actually a sequel to Silent Hill 1, and that the adult Cheryl you see in therapy is actually Heather, who is suffering from memory loss and false memories after the end of the first game when she was, I guess, like born from Alessa and Cheryl. I don't really believe this theory, but I think it's pretty cool either way. James's trunk. This is a theory that says that James put his dead wife's body in his trunk, and it was kind of confirmed true by Silent Hill 2's art director Masahiro Ito. Said on Twitter that Mary's body is in the back seat, not in the trunk, so close enough. Save file pain. In Silent Hill 2 and 3, when you save the game, before it goes to the save screen, the characters will mention that symbols are causing them great pain to look at it. I don't know why it's this deep on the iceberg, considering it says this when you save in the game. Storeroom mirror. In Silent Hill 3, entering the Storm and Brookhaven Hospital, a giant mirror is in the room when suddenly tendrils on the other side of the reflection can be seen moving around the entire room until it covers Heather's whole reflection. Then the tendrils will start spreading into the real world, smothering the whole room. Staying in the room for too long will cause the player to die eventually. Freud. This entry refers to how Freud's psychoanalytic theory influenced the game, specifically the principle of pleasure, which means satisfying the urges of anger and sexuality, which definitely applies to James in Silent Hill 2. Seeing how his monsters such as the nurses, mannequins, Pyramid Head definitely symbolize those. Every dead body is James. According to this Iceberg, all the corpses that you see in the game use James's model, which I don't think is true besides one instance, which we'll get to in the next entry. It is true that in Silent Hill 3 you can see Angela's dead corpse as the victim of the Closer, but basically a theory of James' dead body can be seen as a conscious way of showing that he wants to die or be punished. Room 208. This is an apartment in Silent Hill 2 where the grandfather clock puzzle is located, and also a dead body in a chair. This calls back to the last entry since the corpse in the chair is James. Sentient Robbie the Rabbit. In Silent Hill 4, you can find a hole in the wall that leads into the next door neighbor's apartment. You can look through it as many times as you want, but if you do it too much, the Robbie the Rabbit doll on the bed will look at the player. Maybe I'm entirely wrong. Maybe this entry means that shitty jump scare in the second Silent Hill movie. There was a hole here. When first entering the town in Silent Hill 2, a message on the wall says, "There was a hole here. It's gone now." There are a multitude of theories on what this can mean. It can either refer to how the town changes itself physically as it's perceived differently from other people, or how it's referencing Silent Hill 4 a couple years before it came out. Valtiel helps Heather. In Silent Hill 3, the figure of Valtiel is seen multiple times as a passive background figure, but is said to be protecting Heather and actually helping her throughout the game. This is meant to ensure that the new god will be born. PT Audio Metal Gear Solid 5. In MGS5, the player goes into one of the tents in Guard Post 17, close to the Mgumbo Industrial Zone. You can hear one of the radios playing sounds from PT, aka Silent Hill's playable trailer. Ambulance ending. This was a semi-popular rumor back when Silent Hill 1 was relatively new. It said he beat the game on hard with a ranking of at least 9 out of 10. Then on the next playthrough, a player can find distilled water and glucose and use it to blow up the gate across the hospital and get the oil can to use on an engine. And once you put the engine in an ambulance, you play an ending where it shows Harry driving around Silent Hill in an ambulance trying to find Cheryl. This is unfortunately not real, but a semi-convincing hoax video came out that kind of tricked people into thinking it was a real ending. PT on Sony servers. There isn't a lot I can find, but basically what I could find was that after PT was taken off the PlayStation Store, some .pkg files still remained on the servers from the store. Death Stranding is Silent Hills. You see, Norman Reedus was in Silent Hills, and little known fact, Norman Reedus is also in Death Stranding. This is fucking stupid. Circumcision. So on the Silent Hill wiki forums, a user started changing some of the articles into saying it was about circumcision, such as the reason Walter Sullivan is the way he is because he was circumcised, and that the worm is trying to look for its missing foreskin. It's a very interesting story. The guy was very clearly unhinged. I definitely recommend watching Wang's video on it if you want more detail into it. I'll put it in the description. Thank you for finishing this. I know this wasn't a very long Iceberg at all. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I've never wrote a script. I've never done research on anything before. This is also completely unscripted. I know the rest of the video seemed unscripted too, because a lot of it, I didn't like my script, so I was just kind of winging it. I started working on this almost 2 years ago, and a lot of it was just life and procrastination in the way, and then I just kind of got the urge to finally do it. I know it's not the best, but I had a lot of fun making it, and I kind of want to make more of them, so yeah, I hope you liked it, and I hope that you'll stick around for more. I am really tired. I am recording this pretty late, so thank you again. Bye.